protect and to serve has become one of the most recognizable phrases in law enforcement across the country. And throughout its over 50 years of use, it has come to embody the spirit, dedication, and professionalism of law enforcement officers. I'm Joni Sutter for Nutmeg TV, and joining me today is Trooper First Class Kelly Grant to tell us all about the Connecticut State Police. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You are the Public Information Officer for the Connecticut State Police.
That's correct.
What does the Public Information Officer do?
Public Information Officer, as I found out, does quite a few things. I have been in the Public Information Office for about 6 years now. I've held different roles. Now I'm kind of upfront and am responsible for a lot of things. One of the things we do is disseminate information in a timely manner. It's important to us, it's important to the community to get information out, letting the community know what is going on. Is there a threat? Is there something they need to be concerned about? Is there something great that we just did that we want to share with everybody? So the information that we get out there is a wide variety of information. It's not always necessarily bad stuff, but it's a variety of things.
Okay, so if we watch the news and we see you, which I have recently, and we see you there, we know that that is the direct link to the Connecticut State Police. Correct. You're telling us what it is that we need to know.
Correct. I'm keeping the public informed of what the happenings are. It could be weather related. It could be, unfortunately, a situation like a homicide, letting people know what's going on. Do they need to stay in their homes? Is it okay to go out? Is there something they need to be on the lookout for? We have had, through social media, we have had the community help us find a bank robber. So getting information out in a timely manner benefits everybody.
How do you get information out? I mean, I just mentioned the news organization where we'll see you on TV, but what are some other ways?
We write press releases, and in the press releases, again, it contains the information that we want sent out to the public. We speak to the media on television, we speak to them on the radio, and then we use social media, of course.
And is social, you have your own Facebook page then?
Do.
Okay, so people can like that. And do you use Twitter at all?
Yes, we have a Facebook page, and we use Twitter, and we put out as much information as we possibly can. And in this particular instance that I was speaking of, we use Twitter to send out information about a bank robbery suspect. And troopers reported back that we guess it must have worked because people were pointing us in the correct direction. At first they were like, what's going on? And then they realized, wow, the information went out through social media and people paid attention to that information. And when they saw a police car, they directed them to where they saw the suspect go.
That's terrific.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about your uniform. I told Trooper Grant that I wanted to talk about the uniform, and I would do it with her as the Public Information Officer. So can you tell us, I see that you've got patches that are indicative of years of service?
Correct.
Maybe? Okay.
Correct. So the patch, this patch is for Trooper First Class, and that is a trooper who has 7 or more years as a state trooper. You'll also see here, you'll see sergeant stripes. Obviously that'll let you know that somebody's a sergeant, and we also have master sergeant.
Okay.
So if you see anybody without anything, they could be command staff, so they could be a lieutenant or above, or they could be a trooper who doesn't have 7 years yet.
Okay, and the color of the shirt is always gray, or it can
Correct.
be white, or?
No, troopers through command staff, which for us is lieutenant, captain, major, light colonels, we all wear the same uniform.
Is there one colonel?
There's one colonel, and there'll be 3 lieutenant colonels.
Okay, and they all wear the gray.
Everybody wears the same uniform.
Okay, and then you have your name.
My name.
Okay, your badge.
Badge.
And then on the lapel are some state of Connecticut.
Correct.
And
so one is the state of Connecticut, obviously indicating that we are in Connecticut. The other one indicates it's your troop designator or your unit designator. So depending on what troop you're at, so if you're at Troop A in Southbury, this will be an A.
Okay.
Mine is HQ because I work at headquarters.
Okay. Where are your headquarters located?
We're in Middletown.
Middletown, Connecticut, right in the center of the state.
Yes.
And I always love of course we'll talk about the hat in a minute, but I always love the chain that comes down.
Yes,
and
that's a whistle chain.
Okay.
Obviously at one point in time, troopers did have whistles, and they use whistles for a variety of things through the course of their job. We don't carry whistles anymore. However, we've stayed with the chain. It's part of our uniform. Variety of things. Keys, spare key to the cruiser is on it. Some people put different types of jewelry, so whether it's a medal that's significant to them, a cross, something religious. So it could be anything other than, other than a whistle.
Okay.
Although some people may carry a whistle, but we traditionally we don't carry whistles anymore.
And then you have the emblem on the other side with the state. We've got the emblem of the state, 1903.
1903 is when the state police was established, May 29th of 1903. We were established as a state police agency.
That's wonderful. And then the pants are always the blue pant with the stripe down the side.
Correct. Blue and gold are our colors.
Yeah, and I've noticed everybody has, well, those that I've seen, the black boots.
Yes.
Okay. And tell us about the hat.
The hat. Everybody's always curious about the hat.
And it's so impressive.
It is impressive. We probably have one of the most recognizable uniforms, definitely in the state of Connecticut, one of the most recognizable uniforms. I was at an event with, there were several children. There was probably 100 young children there. And a little boy came up to me and said, "I know who you are." And I said, "Oh yeah." He goes, "You're a state trooper." I said, "How do you know that?" He goes, "I know because of your hat." Oh. So our hats are definitely very recognizable.
Yes.
It's the Stetson. Again, it goes back to tradition. They chose the Stetson many years ago, and it is something that has stuck.
And the best dressed uniform.
Yes, we have
Tell
won.
us about that.
Since 1985, we have won Best Dressed State Police Uniform 3 times. Unfortunately, the last time we put in for Best Dress was probably 2010, 2011. We didn't win that year, but we're going to have to go back to that. That's something we'll have to go back to.
Absolutely, because the people of Connecticut be so proud, because
Yes.
we all love the hats. I know we do. Tell us about how many troopers there are total for the state.
We have approximately 1,100 troopers. We also have auxiliary troopers. They're not as well known. They're not as many. There's probably maybe 100 auxiliary troopers. And auxiliary troopers are volunteer troopers who go out on patrol and they assist the patrol troopers with their daily activities. So you can see them do anything from a mail delivery, packages from the troop to headquarters, vice versa. They'll stop for disabled motor vehicles. They'll assist at motor vehicle accidents. And again, these are volunteers.
How many auxiliaries do you
I
have?
believe it's about 100, no more than 100.
Do they go through a training program?
They do go through a training program. They learn the same things that we do, obviously, because they are out on the road, really kind of doing the same job we are. They don't make arrests,
Right.
But they do assist troopers with that type of thing. They assist troopers with accidents. Again, disabled motor vehicles. So they are out there. They are fully trained auxiliary troopers.
And they do this on a volunteer
And
basis?
they do it on a volunteer basis. So they're not out there every single day.
Right.
They do have jobs, full-time or
Right.
part-time, they do have jobs. So as their time allows for them to do it, they volunteer anything from a few hours to a full shift.
How wonderful.
Yes.
Now, let's go through a little bit of, how many barracks that you have, how many roads that how many miles of road do you really cover?
We have 11 barracks, or now troops, across the state. They're initially barracks back during World War II, and probably up into about the 60s they were barracks because troopers used to sleep there. They used to live there. Now they're troops. Obviously, we don't reside at them anymore. So there's 11 across the state. We cover about 7,000 miles of roadway. We cover 81 towns where we are the primary law enforcement for that town. And of those towns, 56 of them have the resident trooper program.
Okay, so the 81 towns would be a town like Cornwall, for example. Okay, a town like Cornwall doesn't have a resident trooper, but they're covered under the state police.
Correct, they're covered under the state police.
Where Litchfield would have or Burlington.
Burlington would be, yes. Burlington has a resident trooper's office. Litchfield would have Litchfield does have a resident trooper, but they also have the barracks or the troop in that town.
Right there. And the state is split into threes, am I right?
Correct. That's correct.
How do you regionalize?
So we split the state into thirds. We have the Western District, the Central District, and the Eastern District. And that allows for some of our specialized units, instead of being stationed in one spot and having to travel across the state, because we cover the entire state. So to go from one point to another in the state could take quite some time when you need emergency services unit, the SWAT team, or you need, a specialized canine. It could take them a while to get there. So they divided the state into thirds. Each district, as we call it, Eastern, Western, and Central, they have their own major crime. They have their own ESU. They're all one, but they split the state so that they can cover the state a lot easier.
Sure. And so they're like little subdivisions, I guess. You
Yes,
could look at it that way.
yes, correct.
Okay. And so the Western, the Central, and Eastern, they have their own maybe a mini headquarters?
Correct, yes. A scaled down version of a headquarters. So anything of any significance would go through that particular headquarters, and then that headquarters would send it to the main headquarters so that everybody knew what was going on. But it would start with their individual headquarters.
What are some of the units that the state police has? You mentioned you have a canine unit.
Yes, probably our most popular one, our most well-known one would be the canine unit. Everybody loves the dogs.
How many do you have?
Oh, we have a lot of dogs, and we have shepherds, which are out on patrol. Some of them are cross-trained for narcotics, and some of them are cross-trained as cadaver dogs. And then we do have cadaver dogs, which are commonly your bloodhounds. We have labs, which do narcotics, and they also do bomb detection. So off of that, we have the mass transit unit, which is on our trains. So they travel the trains, they check the trains, the buses. They bring their dogs. They have bomb dogs, and they bring their dogs. Their dogs, check the area. Most recently, would have been the Paris attack.
Yes.
Where we ramped up patrols, and the dogs were a lot more visible at that time. We don't want to scare people.
Right,
with,
sure.
Here's this trooper coming on the train with a dog. So we don't want to scare people. So the dogs are there. They are walking around with the troopers. But like I said, most recently with Paris, we did ramp up patrol. We announced that we were ramping up patrols and that you would see canines. So people did see extra troopers with mainly black labs on the trains.
And I think of the shepherd. I can't say that I've ever seen a state police officer with a basset hound.
Right.
I haven't. But that's
Yes.
what they're, and even a lab. I can't say that
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
Even if you go to the airport, you'll probably, if you're looking, you'll run into a couple of our labs up there.
You do have troopers at the airport on a regular basis.
Correct. We do have troopers. The troopers come from Troop H in Hartford.
Okay.
And yes, you'll see them in regular state police uniform, but you'll also see some in what we call BDUs. It's the all blue. Some people refer to them as looking like pajamas. That's what you'll see our canines. Usually our canine officers are wearing those. A little more comfortable. They have the dog, so you're getting covered in fur, and you may have to crawl someplace with the dog, so it makes it a little more, makes it a little easier for them to do their work when they're wearing something such as BDUs.
If there's a trooper who wants to have a canine or, do that kind of work, do they have to apply for that, or are they assigned that?
They apply in a sense where you can, you send a memo, you include your interest, you include your background, what have you done to prepare, what have you done in the state police, probably why you want to be a canine officer. And as a canine class becomes available with canines, all those applications, so to speak, are reviewed, and they pick the best candidates from that.
Who trains the police dogs?
We have a canine unit, and they are all state troopers that train other state troopers from other states, police officers from other departments, federal agencies from other countries.
So interesting.
Yes.
Just so interesting. Now, what are the specialized units that are part of the state police?
So we also have, we talked about major crime, we talked about canine, we have statewide narcotics task force. And again, that is run by the state police, but because it's a task force, it does consist of officers from local police departments. So it gives them, the other agencies, the opportunity to use some of the state police assets. So we're able to give them a little more by them joining forces with us. They're able to combat narcotics in their towns or cities because now we're bringing in a lot more resources. So we have the statewide narcotics task force. They're across the entire state. We have an auto theft unit that focuses obviously on auto thefts. They'll look into areas where, maybe we have an area where a bunch of cars are being stolen. So they will concentrate their efforts on that area, try to find out who's behind that, and they will work to put a stop to that. We have a computer crimes unit. And computer crimes, yes, most people associate computer crimes with pornography and sex charges when it comes to the computers. So they have an interesting job. They have an interesting job. A lot of the work they do.
Ever developing too.
Yes,
Technology's
it's never
changing.
ending. That's correct. It's never ending. You know, they do a lot of work. They do a lot of hard work that really goes unrecognized because, unfortunately, you know, you're talking about juveniles. You're talking about victims of sex crimes. So it's unfortunate.
And sex trafficking.
And sex trafficking,
I didn't
yes.
realize that was even happening in the state of Connecticut until I had seen a program on it.
Yes.
I had no idea.
Yeah, unfortunately, those are some of the things that are happening. It's happening all over the country, and yeah, of course, we like to think that, you know, something like that would not be here in this state.
Right.
But unfortunately, yes, it is.
It is. Dive team?
We have a dive team. We have a bomb squad that goes to, you'll hear them get called out a lot or referenced a lot. The courts, schools. They'll even go to our barracks or other police departments if somebody turns in a grenade. You know, somebody's cleaning out their attic and they find this grenade from, you know, World War II that somebody brought back. It happens a lot. You know, people kept things as souvenirs, and, you know, they turn up years later and you realize, oh, geez,
Yeah,
you know,
but
I don't need this anymore. I don't want it. You know, they're cleaning out the attic of their parents or of, you know, elderly relatives.
So proper disposal
Correct.
of those kinds of things. Now, is there an accreditation process that happens?
We do. There is an accreditation. It's called CALIA, and we are accredited by CALIA, the organization. It says that we maintain a set standard that's prescribed by them. So it says, yes, we're professional, and we abide by these particular rules or standards to become CALIA certified.
And which you have.
Yes, we have.
Which is wonderful. Is this all across the country?
It is all
Different
across
states?
the country. It is voluntary, so you don't have to do it because it's voluntary. And we chose that this is something that we wanted to do.
Are there any competitions between other state police organizations?
It's funny. Massachusetts State Police seems to be our friendly rival. You know, we kind of compete with them. A few years back at the Big E in Springfield, there was kind of a back and forth between state police and Connecticut State Police and Mass State Police, where Mass State Police sent citizens who were, you know, just at the fair, go ask Connecticut State Police where their Corvette is or where this is, you know, something we didn't have that they had. So it kind of went back and forth for a little bit, and it was fun. The people loved it. They thought it was great that we would have that kind of a rivalry.
Yeah, I didn't know if they had any, you know, sporting events or things that you could, on a recreational basis, that you could take part of to compete against.
We do have, there is a female trooper softball organization, and you will see several states get together and compete. Female troopers will compete for their state. And the money raised from that, they pick a charity, and the money raised from that does go to a charity.
That's great. Do you ever see each other all together? You know, you've got 1,100 of you, and we're going to talk to you in another program about the recruitment process. You're 7 months in that, you know, so you're building some really strong bonds.
Yes.
And so do you ever see each other as a whole, and how do communications travel throughout?
So Connecticut is a small state, but when you're working in it and you have a coworker that works across the state, it's a big state. And no, you don't see each other. I graduated with 82 other recruits, trooper trainees, and I see maybe 5 on a regular basis. You know, I'm in Middletown, and I have some of my classmates who are in Danielson or who are in North Canaan. So no, we don't see each other on a regular basis. You do spend, like you said, you spend 7 months together. You know, you're with each other all the time. And in the academy, they say to you, you know, graduation is the last time you're all going to be together. And we're like, nah, we'll see each other. And no, you really don't. You really don't. There are classmates I haven't seen since we graduated.
How do you communicate within the group to stay up on whatever is coming down the ranks, you know, from what initiatives have to happen or new things or...
Well, on a personal level, to keep in touch with each other, you know, social media is that amazing thing. So mainly my other classmates, the ones that I don't see, it would be through social media. Occasionally we bump into each other at training. We have in-service training. So occasionally we'll bump into each other at in-service training. But as far as new initiatives and any kind of information like that, that's dispersed through the agency to everybody.
Okay.
So we're going to get it anyway.
Those 11
But,
different.
Yes, the 11 different troops will get all the information. Every trooper gets any new information, any new training bulletin, anything that comes out, everybody will get that.
Now tell us, I know it's a popular question, why do the state police drive unmarked cars?
Yes, it is a popular question. Yes, we drive unmarked cars.
And is that fair?
Yeah, that's another popular question too. Yes, we drive unmarked cars. Right now we have some Crown Vics still, Ford Tauruses. You'll see some SUVs.
I have.
Yes, the SUVs. And yes, they are all unmarked. Part of becoming a Connecticut State Trooper is you get this vehicle. This is a take-home vehicle. So the light bar is removable. You can take the light bar off, put it in your trunk, and you can drive the car to go to the grocery store. And part of the thought process of that was that you're always in that vehicle. So really, in a sense, you're always on duty. And if something is going on, you will respond to it. So that means if you're wearing your jeans and your t-shirt and you are on your way to the grocery store and you hear a bank robbery and you're nearby, forget the grocery store, you're on your way to the bank robbery. And we have had that happen a couple times where troopers were on their own time, wearing their own clothes, something happens, and they're the first ones on the scene because they were that close to it. So it allows us to get more troopers in a particular area at one time, right away. It's pretty fast. I don't know if you remember Hartford Distributors shooting. Okay, that's a perfect example is Hartford Distributors. We had troopers on the highway. That's not one of our towns. That's not a place where we would be patrolling. Either one of those towns is not someplace where we would be patrolling. But we had troopers were on the highway or in the general vicinity on their own time, running errands, doing whatever. This came in. They were the first ones on scene, wearing shorts and t-shirts. They were the first ones on scene. So it does serve a purpose. I know people think that it's not fair, it's not right, it costs extra money, but it really does allow for more troopers to get to an area right away.
I never knew
Sandy
that.
Hook, same thing with Sandy Hook. I can't even begin to tell you how many off-duty troopers showed up at that scene. So it definitely proves a benefit.
Yeah, I would think that it would be to, kind of blend in, and then all of a sudden, whoops, there you are. But yet
It does do that.
Yeah,
also.
which is important.
Yes, I mean, people with the light bar on it, it has a light bar, it has push bumpers on the front, has a spotlight, and people just don't see it.
Right.
They don't see it. They think it's a regular everyday car.
The SUVs look very nice, by the way.
Yes,
Because
yeah.
I see a lot of the state troopers, because I ride Route 4
yes,
all the time.
yes.
So I mostly see state troopers.
Right.
And the new SUVs
Right.
are very nice.
Right.
And they don't distinguish themselves as a canine unit or not. I mean, there's no markings on it at all.
Yeah, you can't tell. And not all of them are canine units, but yeah, you can't tell
Now, why
until
did
the dog
they pick
starts
the
barking.
SUVs?
I think it was equipment.
Okay.
The amount of equipment between canine, some of our tactical team, SWAT team,
Yeah.
they drive them. They have a lot of equipment. They have a lot of specialized equipment, a lot of different equipment that they need to carry. Same thing with our truck squad. So we'll get back to units. We have the traffic unit, and with the traffic unit, we have the cars unit, which is accident reconstruction, and truck squad, which focuses on the tractor trailers and big commercial vehicles on the highways. So with that, they carry a lot of specialized equipment,
Yeah.
including portable scales, where they can weigh these trucks. Yes, they can weigh these trucks
If they didn't
to
weigh
make sure
in.
they're right.
Compliant.
So they need the space for some of this equipment that they carry.
I'm so glad that you joined us today. Because,
Thank you so
And
much.
we're just like going down a list mentioning all the services that are available. I mean, it would be great to have you come in with, and really get into some of these specialized
absolutely.
units
Would
with
love
us.
to.
So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having
and being a guest. And on behalf of Nutmeg TV, I'm Joni Sutter. Until the next time.